Welcome to the Record Machine Show podcast. And now, here's your host, James Michael Hollenstein.
We have an exciting show lined up for you today featuring an interview with singer-songwriter Craig Veltri. Craig is truly an artist on the rise. His latest EP, The Off the Road Sessions, is available now on Spotify. Hailing from Pittsburgh, PA, Craig is proud to call the Steel City home. Recently, he's been traveling between his hometown, Nashville, and the Carolinas, making a name for himself along the way. In addition, he hosts the Craig Veltri Interview, which is released every Friday on the Scarfire Media Podcast Network. But before we dive into the interview, let's take a moment to enjoy one of his songs called Saving Up Dreams.
Pulled back the blanket on a Tuesday morning. The sky was gray and my jeans were torn. 2 weeks since I last had a bed, but I ain't starving and I ain't dead. A fallen angel kept our receipts. All I could do was accept defeat. So I made a room in my backseat. Now I ain't broke, just saving up dreams. Got the tunes, I got the heart. Got just enough on my checking card. And I make do with pennies pinched. Planet Fitness showers, honey sandwiches. A fallen angel shook my confidence. She just wanted obedience. So I made a room in my backseat. Now I ain't broke, just saving up dreams. This parking lot gets dimly lit, and the cops and the gangs, they don't mess with it. Might seem risky, might even seem wrong, but even when settled, I'm never there long. A fallen angel of someone else. Thank God I learned to love myself. So I made a room in my backseat. Now I ain't broke, just saving up dreams. Now I ain't lied, I got plenty of clothes. I always got somewhere to go. By the winter, I'll have the cash to be. We're turning on the heat, never needs a key. Well, the fallen angel set me free. Guess this time it's up to me. And I made a room in my backseat. Now I ain't broke, just saving up dreams. The sky's clear, a fresh pair of jeans. No, I ain't broke, just saving up dreams. I'm wounded, but I won't retreat. No, I ain't broke, just saving up dreams. Yes, I am broken, but I'm saving up dreams.
You just listened to Saving Up Dreams by Craig Veltri, and I have him on the line for a chat.
Hey, James, how are you?
I'm doing good, Craig. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you again for having me on.
No problem, bro.
Show.
How's things going?
Things are going great. I've pretty much been living on the road the last year and a half or so. I've been between... My mail goes to Pittsburgh, and I go back there often. I'm currently in Charlotte at the moment, which is kind of a holding place for whenever I go either west to Tennessee, Memphis, Nashville, or to Myrtle Beach.
are you going to plan on moving down here at some point, or are you just going to make your way, around like you've been doing, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, and then here?
I could probably do that for another year. I was talking to my dad recently, and he said, if you had to put down your roots, what would it be? And I said Nashville. It's really my end game is to be a songwriter full time, and I could continue to do bar gigs and make a really good living in Myrtle Beach. I do love doing that. I do love the people that have come around there. I built something of a following. There are people that have come back to shows, but I really would like to see some mailbox money. Yeah, if you know the term.
Yeah, I get you, man. Yeah, I was looking at my catalog of episodes, and it looks like the last time we spoke on the air was October of 2021. It's like almost 4 years ago.
4 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed since then you've put together a bunch of music, even launched your own podcast, the Craig Veltri Interview on the Scarfire Media Podcast Network. What inspired you to dive into podcasting in addition to music?
Well, at the time, I was getting ready to become a divorcee, and I was looking at a life in sobriety, and I was trying to look at something that I could do on top of my music as another supplement for my creativity and hopefully for my revenue. And my friend Megan Pennington started a media company. At the time it was Scarfire Radio. It was a streaming internet radio station, and she needed content, and I happened to be starting a podcast. So my background is actually in broadcasting. I have a degree from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro in media studies. I was going to be a broadcaster. I was on the TV station, I was on the newspaper, I was on the radio station for the 3 years that I was up there. And I had been a wrestling announcer out of college, so I do have a broadcasting background. I've interviewed a lot of people as a part of that job. So I really loved Larry King. I've always loved Inside the Actor's Studio, and I kind of modeled my format, which took about 4 months to kind of get the format down, and you will experience the format of that show later on. Your episode airs September 20th.
Oh, nice. Looking forward to that. Now, your podcast, do you just interview musicians or all types of people?
Well, the Craig Veltri Interview is where Craig Veltri interviews wonderful people. I have interviewed mostly musicians. That's who I meet, and that's who I do like to showcase. But so that I'm not completely working your side of the street, Mr. Holenstein, I am a person that would like to interview anybody with a really cool story. I have interviewed wrestling promoters. I have interviewed podcast hosts. I have interviewed authors, motivational speakers. I even had an adult film actress on the show once. Wow. So anybody who has a cool story, a cool vocation, I'm happy to showcase them on the Craig Veltri Interview.
That's awesome. How many people have you interviewed up to date?
There have been a few repeat offenders, but the episode count I think right now is 114.
That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive.
It's a cool catalog. I'm proud of the work that I've had. I have told Megan Pennington, however, if we don't see a surge in subscribers and viewers and streamers and see a profit on this, I've been doing the interview now 3.5 years at this point. My anniversary is the second week of May. If by May 16th of 2026 the show does not see significant growth or see a profit, it will not continue. And I don't want that to happen, because I really do like to reconnect with people and connect with people on this podcast. But I got so much stuff going on as far as my music, and I got 2 records that I'm getting ready to write. I'm backlogged on my music as it is at this point, and I really want to, if I have to cut one, it's going to be the podcast. So
let's talk about your music. Your latest EP titled The Off the Row Sessions. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. You've actually already heard at least one song. I can't remember all the songs that you played on the last one, but Biloxi was definitely on there, and that is the second track on that record. 2 of 4 songs, all that I recorded with P.T. Houston at his Off the Road studios in Franklin, Tennessee. Thing about P.T. Houston, he's got to start working with Randy Meisner. He had told stories on my podcast about writing songs with, or at least one writing session about, or rather with Gene Simmons. Yes, that one. And it was a couple of songs that really marked a time in my life that I was really trying to be a Nashville writer. And this is what I thought they wanted to hear. Not to say that I was playing in a pandering sort of way, but these were the songscapes that I was kind of exploring. And Houston met me when he was the entertainment director over at Redneck Riviera. He said, come down to my studio and work. And what a studio Off the Road studio is. It's on a horse ranch in Franklin. They had repurposed this barn. There's analog to digital recording equipment. They even rented out as an Airbnb experience. So
wow.
It's a incredible studio, incredible sound, and it was a good week back during pandemic times.
Awesome. And it's available on Spotify, right?
It's available on Spotify and wherever you get your music.
Very cool. This podcast will showcase 3 of your tracks: Saving Up Dreams, If Only a Smile Could Change My Mind, and The Whiskey Has Its Way. What are the stories behind these songs?
Well, the Saving Up Dreams is actually the brand new single, but The Whiskey Has Its Way is a song I really don't even play out that much, just because, again, I don't, I go to meetings to relive those times for me, so I don't really like to go into the depth on stage, and it's kind of a downer, but that was I wrote that song like a month before I quit drinking, and it just really describes where I was and how much over a barrel the thing that comes out of a barrel had me.
Right.
And so it was not a good time in my life, but if anything, that song survives as a reminder of why I survived. And as for If Only a Smile Could Change My Mind, I've said that the record, what I was going for as far as a comp, was Alison Krauss meets Lyle Lovett. Mm-hmm. And this is probably the most Lyle Lovett sounding song as far as a progression. And even if you hear my voice in it, I hope people would be able to hear Lyle going, if only a smile could change my mind, I'd stop being on the run. So, and he always had kind of a way of cutting through a lover, either with a snark or just very bluntly explaining where he is in his life. And his best songs, If I Had a Boat, The Road to Ensenada, these are songs being proud of his individuality and getting away from a relationship. And I wrote that song about a woman whom I could see it in her eyes. She was falling, and I could feel it too. And I just put up a stiff arm, basically saying, hey, this life that I'm living and that I want to lead, it's going to be a problem for you someday. I saw it be a problem already. I'm sorry, I heard this one too. It's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. I've heard that before. Right. It is. So I was proud enough of that song and because it was Lyle Lovett, I kind of wanted to pay a little bit of a homage of it by doing a music video for it. We found this theater out in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, that let us shoot there for free. The Geyer Theater, I believe it was called, and it was just like a 200-seat theater. They let us shoot in there for free. I put on a suit with no tie, very Lyle Lovett, and I'm proud to say that that's gotten some really good views on YouTube, and I thought I looked pretty good. I pretty came out pretty well, and I hope people would agree with that. And as far as Saving Up Dreams, that is the brand new one. I didn't have any albums coming out. Like I said, I'm working on 2. One with my friend Megan Pennington, who also runs Scarfire Media. She and I have gotten together for a duo project called Moonshine Vagabonds. My backup band is called The Vagabonds. Her band is called Moonshine Jasmine. So we're working on a record in Nashville, Tennessee later this November to be called Inside the Cabin. And I still have a full-length record that I've been hoping to get done last year, but it's probably going to be early summer that I finally got the hooks into it, called Sounds Like Me. So I wanted to put something out.
Mm-hmm.
And Saving Up Dreams got written after a breakup. I speak of a fallen angel. And we thought we were going to be moving to Nashville together. And very quickly, the mask that she had been wearing was beginning to slip. And it came apart pretty rapidly. As Friar Lawrence said to Romeo, these violent delights have violent ends, and it ended in screaming and not a lot of happiness. And I wound up not being able to afford to get a hotel room. It was either going to be food or bed when I was going out in Nashville on networking trips.
Wow.
So for about a month, I was sleeping in my car.
Wow.
And yeah, I made a room in my back seat, and the photo art reflects how I makeshifted a bed, just a couple of blankets, a couple of orthopedic pillows, and I kept the rest of my stuff on one side of the back seat. I put the seats down, found a parking lot that I'm not going to tell because I don't want other people to lose this spot. But I was able to get a couple good nights sleep in early, or should I say late winter of this past year.
Wow. But
I got through it because that's how much I want this, how much I put my life into this music. And I know how to stay alive and stay sober, but I kind of reaffirmed that I lost something that really wasn't even real, and the only real thing in my life has always been music. So that was kind of my love letter to my own resolve, I guess.
Very nice. Now, how long have you been sober?
It's been 3 years this past June.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
You don't miss it, right?
No, I do not. I look at alcohol right now as the same way somebody thinks about putting their fingers in a toaster. It's like anytime I think it's a good idea, it's like, okay, I'll just go put my fingers in a toaster, or something more elaborate and not radio safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I interviewed a guy once who, was in a similar situation, and he referred to quitting alcohol as breaking up with the love of his life.
It certainly was a one-sided and abusive relationship. I look back on it, and it really was just the thing that filled the hole.
Right.
It was no more than that. It was just, there was nothing else to do, but, and eventually, it didn't really become the love of my life anymore. It was becoming the suicide attempt. So,
right. Yeah. And that's not a good thing.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't recommend it. And if it is getting there, I highly recommend anybody gets help. So
you have to hit rock bottom pretty good before you start to wake up and realize, hey, man, I can't do this anymore, right?
I always remember the last drink that I had, and it was the end of a bender. I don't remember the last alcohol that touched my lips, but I can tell you the scene the next morning. An unfinished basement in Pittsburgh. There are cans of PBR and Icy Light strewn across the basement floor, an empty bottle of Fireball. And I look up from the off-soiled couch that there was a running playlist of true crime dramas that were going on the TV as I was sleeping.
Wow.
Glamorous as you can think. Wife was gone, dog was gone. I was living a country song.
Damn.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, hey, at least, you were able to pick yourself up, and, you are where you are right now, and you're obviously feeling a lot better. You sound good.
I appreciate that. I listened back to the interview. I think you mentioned earlier I wasn't sounding good back then. I was kind of a mess then too. So I'm in a much better state of mind. Now, I won't say that my worst day sober was better than any day drunk, but most of the days drunk were pretty bad. So I was either going to make it out of it, or I was going to die. And I'm glad that I made it out of it, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. Now that we've heard the stories behind the song, let's take a moment to listen to a song off Letters to the Defendant titled The Whiskey Has Its Way.
Well, the whiskey has its way of lightening the load, and hammers even harder every day that I don't. But the whiskey has its way. Yeah, the whiskey hides the pain, but it doesn't heal. And all the bad I've hidden's now more easily revealed. But the whiskey hides the pain, and the wave is frightening some days, and it hurts. Even though it chokes and beats me, I know it's there to keep me in a place that I deserve. But the whiskey has its way. Yeah, the whiskey has its way to murder everything and do the things that make me kill love as it brings. But the whiskey has its way. Yeah, the whiskey has its way to feel mortality. And if it claims me, so what? You won't miss me anyway. So the whiskey has its way. And the wave is frightening some days, and it hurts. Even though it chokes and beats me, I know it's there to keep me in a place that I deserve. So the whiskey has its way. Well, the whiskey has a voice, won't give me a choice, and won't remain silent till I fill the void, and has its final say.
Wow, what a powerful song. Can you describe your typical songwriting process? Do you begin with the lyrics, the melody, or something else?
I often describe my songwriting style as the way a character in a musical comes to sing a song in the context of a performance number. The emotion is built up to a point in which the character cannot do anything but sing. That explains why there is music and a score behind dialogue in a musical. So the whiskey has its way. That's desperation and defeat, really. I mean, this thing's got me. I deserve this. Mm-hmm. And so lately I have been doing a lot more writing with other songwriters, and we bounce ideas off of each other, and we kind of come to a conclusion with a song. But for the most part, whenever I write my own stuff, it's usually to the lyric and the melody question. Usually it can be both. Sometimes it's just playing with a guitar and engaging in what Billy Joel calls vowel music, not bowel movements, but vowel movements. You just get the guitar in your lap, you start playing some chords. ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, do, 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 and eventually words go in their place. And then it's like, okay, what did that mean? Let's follow that. And other times I wrote a song recently, it just kind of came out of me, and 15 minutes later, it was in a song, and of course, it was about a woman. So it can come in many days in many different directions, and I'll conclude with this. Chris Stapleton said, being a songwriter isn't so much of a gift as it is an affliction. We see the world, and it comes out in a song. It is our cross to bear. Please do not pity us, and just send us money so that we can get to the next city.
Nice. How has your songwriting evolved over the years, and what has been the major influence on that evolution?
I think anything with practice and regular exercise should get better with age. I like to think my songs have gotten better over the years. As far as just the technique of it, I'd say I'm a better guitar player, so I can come up with much more intricate stuff. And as far as working with other writers, working with National Songwriters Association International, and actually getting feedback on my songs, actually being receptive to feedback about my songs, I'm a lot sharper, I think, with my music. At least that's what I hear. I'm very close to it. I'm not the most credible or unbiased observer when it comes to my own music. We're talking my kids here. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I can go back from song that I wrote this past week to a song I wrote 10 years ago, and I can see just a different person in the songs that I've come up with. Because really, anytime I've written a song from my perspective, I've really held a mirror up to myself. Sometimes it was a good hair day, other days it really wasn't. So, but at the same time, as far as the technique and the sharpness in the language and the differences in the melody, the risks I would take, and honestly, in some cases, the simpler songs have become simpler to write. Mm-hmm. 3 chords, 4 chord songs with rather elementary lyrics, those were pretty hard for me to come by. I was pretty verbose back when I started out. You know, I had a degree in English, and I didn't mind using it, but hanging around a lot of Nashville writers and just in general, writers that don't like to use a lot of $5 words have really simplified a lot of my music. So I wouldn't say that my songs stylistically aren't that different, but you can peel it back and look at the lyrics and some of the structures of it, and it's a much sturdier house these days.
Nice. Now, you mentioned earlier some projects that you're working on. 2 albums, you said, 2 records. When can the listeners expect these releases?
The short and broad answer would be 2026. Inside the Cabin by Moonshine Vagabonds, myself and Megan Pennington, we're hoping to go into the studio a little after Thanksgiving to knock out those songs. We're still actually writing a few more songs to make it a full-length record. And we're doing shows all over Pittsburgh and wherever we can find work. The next one coming up, I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we will be playing at Bigham Tavern in Bridgewater, Pennsylvania on September 27th. So if you want to see me and Megan in action, come check us out there, as well as October 31st in Ambridge, Pennsylvania. I'm blanking on the name of the place, but if you want the full dates for myself and Moonshine Vagabonds at the moment, craigveltri.bandzilla.com. You can also follow Megan Pennington on all of her social media and track us down. We are not that hard to find. Just follow the noise.
Nice. What legacy do you hope to leave behind in the music world, and how are you working towards that goal?
Well, a legacy is written by somebody else, so I really don't want to put the words in anybody's mouth about who I am and who I was. And I've learned to live one day at a time, so I hope that legacy is not that far ahead. So, not to avoid your question, instead, I will say that a legacy is still to be determined. I just hope they say nice things.
Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, Joe Walsh said the same thing. One day at a time. He even wrote a song about it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Have you heard it?
And, thank you for saying that. I have not heard that. I love Joe Walsh, but I never heard One Day at a Time.
Oh, you got to listen to it.
Oh no! Please don't make me listen to Joe Walsh music. No, anything but that, please.
It is. It's a song about his battle with the bottle.
He's talked about it. I didn't see it in real time, but there were like the late '80s was pretty dicey for the guy.
Yeah, it's a great song. If you haven't heard it, I'm sure it's up on YouTube. You should check it out. I think you'd like it.
I haven't hated anything out of Joe Walsh yet. So
that's cool. Is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
Well, I mean, I think we covered most everything. I guess I will mention in full about Scarfire Media. We are in the middle of a rebranding. We are moving into more of an artist development kind of thing. What that's going to mean, stay tuned in the future. However, we do have some merchandise available through Bonfire. Just go to bonfire.com, search Scarfire Media. I'll be happy to give you a link to getting a very nice shirt with one of Megan's lyrics on it and a very, very lovely logo that Megan designed for Scarfire Media. And heck, while I'm at it, check out Megan Pennington's band Moonshine Jasmine. Really badass stuff. Your soon-to-be favorite folk rock band.
Very cool. Well, Craig, I want to thank you so much for coming back on the show. I know it's been 4 years, but I feel like we picked up where we left off, only on better, like a better conversation this time.
I'm good. I mean, for one, I'm not married, so so obviously things are much better. So, but yeah, thank you again for having me again, and congratulations on all your awards. We'll definitely be talking about that more in length on my show, the Craig Veltri Interview. So, looking forward to chatting with you on that side.
Awesome. Well, let's stay in touch. All right, buddy.
You got it, man.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye. I just want to give a shout out to Craig for dropping by today and sharing his stories and music. But before we wrap things up, let's vibe to another one of his tracks called If Only a Smile Could Change My Mind.
If only a smile could change my mind, I'd stop being on the run. I'd give up the life, I'd give up the chase, and you'd be the only one. But soon you'll just want to win, not merely to contend. And all the things that charm you now, you'll hate it in the end. If only a touch could change my mind and mend this broken heart, I'd open the gates and while running through, I'd dismiss all the guards. And soon this fragile fortress, you'll burn it from the inside. Not to say you're all the same, but I've watched you change your mind. So don't make no plans for me, I'll never fit that mold. I'm more afraid of dying fate, that would hurt more than dying alone. If only love could change my mind, I'd buy another ring. I'd save this dream only for sleep, and only to you I'd sing. But I wasn't made for staying, I was born ready to leave. You're better off to believe in my song, knowing better than to believe in me. This guitar never let me down, and it's easier to hold. I won't turn down a night here or there, but I'm fine with dying alone. smile could change my mind, and a touch could keep me still. I felt it slow me, consume and own me, and bend me to its will. I've spent all my life being told what I'm supposed to do. You may say that won't be you. I'm sorry, I've heard that one too. I wasn't made for staying. I was born ready to leave. Take this song and feel my love. That's the best you'll get from me.
The Record Machine Show is a weekly radio podcast produced by Jimmy Howell Productions. All rights reserved. For information regarding distribution or adding this podcast to your website, please visit our contact page at therecordmachineshow.com to submit your request. Thanks for listening. See you next time on The Record Machine Show.
The Record Machine Show.